There's a moment that repeats in almost every life. You stand on the edge of something you said you wanted. Love, success, change, and then you flinch. You tell yourself the timing isn't right. You find a reason, any reason, to wait. And that's how sabotage usually begins. Quietly, rationally. It sounds like patience or prudence, but underneath, it's fear rehearsing responsibility. We like to imagine our failures as accidents. The truth is, most are perfectly designed. We architect them in small choices: the unread message, the delayed application, the conversation postponed until it no longer matters. Each one a vote against ourselves. So subtle it feels like fate, not decision. People don't sabotage because they hate success. They do it because success threatens to expose every story they've told about why they can't have it. And those stories are ancient things, stitched into the way we see ourselves. We'd rather burn the bridge than watch the myth drown. Every human carries two selves, the one they perform and the one that watches. The first fights for progress, the second keeps score, and somewhere between them lives the impulse that whispers, maybe staying broken is safer. Sabotage is a kind of control. It lets us fail on our own terms. If you wreck it yourself, no one can take it from you. If you never try fully, no one can expose how much you cared. Think about how many times you've approached change with a plan already poisoned. The diet starting Monday, the relationship patched but never mended, the project stalled because you need more clarity. We call it preparation, but what we really mean is protection from disappointment, from exposure, from the risk of our own potential. There's comfort in believing we're incapable, because capability demands proof. It forces action, and action means accountability. Our brains are master engineers of avoidance. They prefer the predictable misery of the known to the unstable potential of growth. Neurologically, safety wins over satisfaction. That's why you scroll instead of start, delay instead of decide. Every distraction is the nervous system whispering, stay where it's safe. When we imagine success, we see reward, but our bodies register threat. New territory, new scrutiny, new unknowns. So we create friction. We pick fights before interviews, forget deadlines, overshare, overthink, or overrest. Anything to bring us back to the familiar hum of self-doubt. Psychologists call it cognitive dissonance, the gap between what we want and what we believe we deserve. To close that gap, we don't raise belief, we lower ambition. We reshape the dream until it fits the cage. And the more intelligent you are, the more creative your sabotage becomes. Smart people don't crash the car. They just keep driving in circles until they run out of gas. Failure has a strange warmth to it. It's familiar. It has routine. People comfort you when you're down. They expect less. There's a strange intimacy in being broken. Others lean closer to help. Success, on the other hand, isolates. It invites comparison, envy, expectation. It demands you keep proving you belong there. So many of us unconsciously retreat back to failure because at least it feels known. At least the pain has a name. This is why addicts relapse after stability. Why couples reignite chaos right when things are peaceful. Why artists disappear the moment attention finds them. Peace feels foreign. They confuse it for emptiness. They miss the noise that once justified their struggle. Sabotage is nostalgia for suffering. You've lived with it so long, you start to believe it's part of your identity. Take it away, and you're left with silence. And silence, for some, is unbearable. Every version of you that could have existed still haunts the corridors of your mind. Each one whispers a different "what if?" You think you fear failure, but what you really fear is becoming unrecognizable to yourself. Ambition means rewriting your internal biography. It means letting go of the small self that felt safe in excuses. When you succeed, that version of you dies, and people grieve that death, even as they celebrate. That's why some dreams remain eternal drafts, the book half written, the business half built, the apology half spoken. They allow you to live in the romance of potential. You can fantasize about who you'd be if, without ever confronting who you are now. Completion ends the illusion. It hands you a verdict. And that's terrifying, because what if you find out the thing you wanted doesn't fill the space you built around it? Better to keep the hunger than face the hollow. But here's the secret. The future doesn't want your perfection. It just wants your presence. It can only sculpt what you give it. The rest is static. If sabotage is a pattern, then every pattern has a rhythm. Trigger, retreat, relief, repeat. Trigger, something good begins, a compliment, opportunity, or hint of progress. Retreat, doubt flares, disguised as logic. Relief, you pull back and feel momentary peace. Repeat, guilt sets in, reinforcing your belief that you're broken. Breaking that loop isn't about discipline, it's about recognition. You can't fight what you refuse to name. Next time you catch yourself delaying, ask, what am I protecting right now? Usually, it's not laziness. It's loyalty to an outdated identity. The self who needed to stay small to stay safe is still running the controls. The goal isn't to kill that self, it's to thank it, and then relieve it of duty, because fear was never the enemy. It was the bodyguard of an old version of you. Growth means firing the guard. Change doesn't begin with grand declarations. It starts with microscopic rebellions. Answering one email you've avoided. Doing the workout without music. Telling the truth before you rehearse it. Small consistency rewires the nervous system. It teaches your brain that safety can coexist with action, that you can be uncomfortable and okay. That uncertainty isn't a signal to stop. It's proof that something new is happening. Every act of self-trust is a vote against sabotage. Each time you follow through, the mind updates its record. This time, we didn't run. Over time, those records accumulate. They become identity, and identity is what sustains change when motivation fades. Healing has a strange side effect. It ruins your tolerance for bullshit. You outgrow conversations, jobs, and even versions of love that once felt vital. At first, that feels like loss, but it's actually space being made for truth. Sabotage thrives in clutter. It feeds on noise, on the overbooked calendar, on relationships built from obligation. To end it, you must learn to disappoint the world a little, to choose alignment over approval. There's loneliness in that, but it's the kind that precedes belonging. Because when you stop sabotaging, you stop performing. And when you stop performing, the people meant for the real you finally find you. That's the quiet reward success hides behind all the noise, the ability to live without pretending you're someone smaller. No one ever truly beats sabotage. You just get faster at recognizing the disguises. It'll show up wearing productivity, humility, even self-care. You'll catch it making excuses that sound wise. But each time you notice and act anyway, its grip loosens. One day you'll look back and realize that the fear never left. It just stopped steering. And when that happens, success won't feel like triumph. It'll feel like a quiet walk home. Because the war was never between you and the world. It was between you and the version of you that didn't believe you could survive peace. That's why self-sabotage hurts so much to outgrow. It kept you company when no one else did. It was proof you still cared. But caring can evolve. It can stop burning and start building. So if you're still hesitating, still circling the start, still telling yourself it isn't time, understand this. There is no moment of readiness, only the moment you begin anyway. The door is already open. Walk through it, and don't apologize for arriving late. The version of you waiting on the other side doesn't care how long it took. It's just glad you finally showed up.